Before we begin the story, let us know where you're watching from by leaving a comment below. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the story, everyone. A millionaire CEO offered $1 million for one night with a poor virgin, Ethan. But when she found out who he really was, she was shocked. Olivia Bennett, CEO of the Bennett Group, used to walk into boardrooms and close million-dollar deals with a handshake. But today, all she wanted was to disappear, just for a few hours. She adjusted her sunglasses, opened the car door, and said, "Take me somewhere no one knows me, or I swear I'll lose it in the middle of this meeting." Her assistant paused, then said, "There's a quiet little spa in the old part of town. Nothing fancy, but I've heard they have a special masseur. Discreet, totally, no photos, no social media, no gawkers." Olivia just nodded. 20 minutes later, the car stopped in front of a worn-down building, nothing flashy, just a small wooden sign, hand-painted, "Lotus Blossom Eastern Therapies." As she walked in, Olivia took in the space. No heavy incense, no fake background music, just quiet and a soft scent of lavender. "Good afternoon," said the receptionist with a calm smile. "Full session or just body?" "Full body," Olivia replied. "And I want your best. Ethan is available. He's our most requested." Olivia didn't reply. She walked quietly to a small, cozy room, kicked off her heels, unbuttoned her blazer, and lay down on the massage table. The door opened. "Good afternoon. I'm Ethan. If everything's ready, we can begin." Olivia turned her head slightly. He was young, fit, short black hair, calm expression. He didn't seem impressed or curious or even interested. "I'm in a hurry," she said. "Just do what you have to do." Ethan nodded, washed his hands, and began the session. His touch was precise, professional, yet attentive, as if he could feel every bit of tension under her skin. When he reached her calves, Olivia shivered, not from pain. Surprise, maybe. It was the first time someone touched her without expecting something in return. "How long have you been doing this?" she asked, almost without meaning to. "Long enough to know when a body needs silence," he replied, eyes focused on his work. Olivia gave a small side smile. "And mine, does it need silence? Yours is screaming." She let out a short, nasal laugh. "Do you always talk like that with your clients? Only when they ask?" For a second, she wanted to ask more but didn't. Not yet. 60 minutes later, Olivia got dressed in silence and walked to the front desk. Before leaving, she looked at the receptionist and asked, almost casually, "That Ethan, is he married?" The receptionist chuckled, surprised. "No, actually, they say he's never been with anyone. Some even say he's still a virgin." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Really? With hands like that?" "Yeah, he's never accepted any offer. He's private." "That's interesting." Olivia turned and walked out. In the car, she crossed her legs and leaned her head against the window. Virgin, she thought. Interesting. Even more surprising, she couldn't stop thinking about him. The next day, before the spa even opened, Olivia was already there, this time with a different energy. Something between a challenge and curiosity. "I want the same person from yesterday, Ethan, no substitutes," she told the receptionist firmly. Minutes later, she was back on the table, waiting. When Ethan entered, he greeted her just as plainly as before. "Miss Bennett," he said. "Olivia," she corrected, eyes still closed. "Let's skip the formal stuff today." He didn't answer, just started working on her shoulders, just like the day before. She waited a bit, let the silence settle, then broke it. "You know, I thought about you last night. Hope it didn't keep you up," he replied calmly. "No, but I lost my appetite." She smiled. "You're strange, distant, like you're not trying to impress anyone, not even me." "It's not my job to impress. It's to help. And what if someone wants more than just help?" Ethan paused for a second, then continued. "I usually keep boundaries, even if the person is interesting." He didn't reply further. "Let's go out tonight, Ethan, dinner, or nothing formal. Just a bit of time outside here. You and me." No, he said plainly. No hesitation, no sugarcoating. Olivia blinked. She wasn't expecting that. You're turning down my invitation? Yes. Why? Because I'm not interested. She sat halfway up on the table, looking at him, challenging. Everyone has a price. Ethan. He looked her in the eyes, calm, unshaken. Not me. Olivia reached into her blazer pocket, pulled out an envelope, opened it slowly, and held it out. $1 million for one night. Just tonight. A hotel. Total privacy. No follow-up. No messages. No contact. Ethan didn't even touch the envelope. He just looked at it. Accept it, Ethan. It's just one night, no strings attached, just desire. Then she slipped the envelope into the pocket of his uniform. You don't have to answer now. Just think about it. Ethan took his hands off her body, looked at the pocket, then back at Olivia. I've already thought about it, and he gently took the envelope out of his pocket, placed it on the table beside him, and said, It's still no. Olivia narrowed her eyes. There was something there, a quiet strength she couldn't quite name. You're turning down $1 million? I'm turning down the idea of selling myself. You're brave. No, I just don't want to wake up tomorrow feeling like I did something for money. She lay back down, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in years, she didn't know what to say, and that was interesting. Ethan went back to the massage. Neither of them said another word, but in that silence, something had shifted. That night, Olivia didn't sleep. She tossed and turned, thinking about that firm, clear no. No one, absolutely no one, had turned down something she offered in the last 10 years, especially not $1 million. By 7:00 the morning, she was already in the car. Lotus Blossom Spa again, ma'am, the driver asked, surprised. Yes, and step on it. She arrived before the spa even opened, waited outside, drumming her fingers on the steering wheel. When the receptionist arrived, Olivia was already at the door. I need to speak to Ethan. It's urgent. He doesn't get here until 9 o'clock, Mrs. Bennett. Then I'll wait. And she did, for 2 hours. When Ethan finally walked in, Olivia jumped up from the reception chair like a spring. You, she said, pointing at him. I need an explanation. Ethan stopped, looked at her for a moment, and replied, Good morning to you too. I'm not joking, Ethan. Neither am I. He walked up to the front desk. Sophie, has my first client arrived? Actually, the receptionist glanced at Olivia. She's your first client. Olivia crossed her arms. I want the same room as yesterday, now. She's not scheduled, ma'am, the receptionist mumbled. I don't care. Olivia pulled out a $500 bill and placed it on the counter. I need to talk to him alone. Ethan sighed. All right, 20 minutes. In the room, Olivia didn't lie down on the table. She stood, facing him. Why did you turn me down last night? I already told you. No, you said you didn't want to sell yourself, but we all sell ourselves, Ethan. You work here, I pay. How is that any different? It is different. How? Ethan crossed his arms and leaned against the wall. I work because I choose to, not because someone bought me. Olivia gave a dry, sarcastic laugh. How romantic and naive. Maybe. Then tell me, how much for one night? Seriously, how much? Nothing. Everyone has a price, Ethan. Mine's not for sale. Olivia slowly moved closer to him until she was just inches away. 2 million? No. 5? No. 10 million, Ethan. Ethan looked into her eyes. Was that sadness? Disappointment? Do you really think I'd change my mind just for more money? Everybody does. I don't. Olivia clenched her fists. Her anger was starting to rise. Am I making a fool of myself? No, I'm being honest. Honest? She took a step back, her voice rising. You work in a dump, earning peanuts per hour, and you're turning down 10 million. That's not honesty, Ethan. That's stupidity. Ethan didn't answer. He just looked at her. Olivia lost her composure. You know what? You're right. I was offering you something you don't even deserve. Men like you, small, limited, no ambition, don't know a good opportunity when it slaps them in the face. She stormed toward the door but stopped and turned around. "You'll regret this, Ethan. You'll spend your whole life wondering what it would have been like to really know me." Ethan waited for her to finish. Then, with the same calm as always, he said, "Olivia, what are you afraid of?" "Afraid?" She let out a sharp laugh. "Of what?" "Of someone who's not impressed by your money." The words hit like a punch. Olivia opened her mouth, but nothing came out. "And do you know why that scares you?" Ethan went on. "Because without the money, you don't know who you are." Olivia froze. For a second, it felt like he had seen right through her, like he had read every insecurity hiding behind her expensive suits and powerful meetings. "You," she began, but her voice gave out, "You can be mad at me, Olivia. You can curse me out, humiliate me, even try to get me fired, but it won't change the fact that someone told you no, and you don't know how to handle that." Olivia felt her face burn. She spun on her heels and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. In the lobby, every employee and a few clients looked her way. She walked past them like a storm, shoved the glass door open, and yelled at the driver, "Start the car now." Inside the car, she was breathing heavily, furious, humiliated, but also curious. Who the heck does he think he is? She thought. At lunchtime, one of the spa employees posted a short video on Instagram stories, just a few seconds long. Olivia storming out of the room, clearly upset. The caption read, "When the masseur turns down the rich lady's offer." Within 2 hours, the video had been shared 15 times. In 6, it was on TikTok. By the end of the day, masseur who said no to the CEO was trending in the city. Olivia only found out when her assistant called, sounding nervous. "Mrs. Bennett, have you seen social media today?" "Why?" "There's a video of you at the spa." Olivia hung up and opened Instagram. The video already had 50,000 views. The comments were brutal. "Looks like the rich lady got what she deserved. Did she really offer him money? Plot twist, the guy has integrity. She's probably used to buying people." Olivia threw her phone on the couch and covered her face with her hands. For the first time in her life, she had become a joke on the internet, all because of a masseur who had the guts to say no. She woke up the next morning to 15 missed calls. Still in her nightgown, she ran to her laptop. The spa video was everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, even the city's news website. The headline that stunned the most: Millionaire CEO, humiliated by poor masseur. The comments were just as harsh. Finally, someone put that arrogance in check. Bet she's never heard a no before. That guy must have strong values to say no to easy money. Did she really offer him $1 million? Olivia slammed the laptop shut. She grabbed her phone and called her marketing team. "I want that video taken down now." "Mrs. Bennett, we already tried, but since it was posted by a private individual, we can't claim copyright." "Then make something up." "It doesn't work like that. Actually, the more we try to remove it, the more attention it gets. It's best to let it die down naturally." Olivia hung up, furious. There was nothing she hated more than not being in control. She called her assistant, Emma. "I want everything on Ethan Lynn, everything. Full name, address, family, work history, debts, relationships. I want to know what brand of toothpaste he uses." "I'm on it, Mrs. Bennett. And hire the best private investigator in the city. I don't care how much it costs." 2 hours later, Olivia was in her office when Emma came in with a thin folder. "This is all we could find on Ethan Lynn." Olivia opened it quickly. Just 3 pages. "That's it?" "It's strange, Mrs. Bennett. He barely exists online. No Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, nothing. The investigator only found the basics. He's been working at the spa for 2 years, rents a small apartment downtown, never married, no criminal record." Olivia flipped through the pages, frustrated. What about his family? No close relatives in the country. The last name Lin is Chinese. But he was born here. Education. Graduated high school from a public school. Then there's a 3-year gap. He shows up again, working in massage clinics. Olivia slammed the folder on the desk. This doesn't make sense. No one lives without leaving a digital trace. The investigator said the same. It's like he erased his own past, or someone erased it for him. That afternoon, Olivia couldn't focus on any meetings. During a video call with investors in Hong Kong, one of them joked, "Olivia, I saw you became internet famous." Laughter in the background. She turned off the camera without replying. By 5 o'clock, she couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed her keys and drove straight to the spa. Ethan was with a client when she arrived. Olivia waited in the lobby, ignoring the curious glances from the staff. When he finished and walked out, he saw her. "You've got some nerve showing up here," Olivia said, standing. "This is where I work." For now, Ethan didn't answer. He walked to the front desk and spoke with Sophie about the next appointment. "I'm talking to you." Olivia raised her voice. Everyone in the lobby turned to look. Ethan sighed and turned around. "What do you want, Olivia? I want to know who you really are." "I'm a massage therapist." "Liar." She stepped closer, speaking softly but firmly. "No one acts, speaks, or looks the way you do, and is just a neighborhood massage guy. Maybe your prejudices are showing." "This isn't prejudice. It's experience. I've negotiated with CEOs, presidents, millionaires. I know power when I see it, and you have power, Ethan. I just don't know where it comes from." Ethan stared at her for a long moment. "And what if I really am what I seem, just a regular guy who doesn't want to sell out?" "I don't believe it." "Then that's your problem, not mine." Olivia clenched her fists. "You humiliated me in public. I just answered your question. Your answer made me a joke. Your actions made you a joke. I just witnessed it." The coldness in his voice made her even angrier. "You're going to regret this, Ethan. I'll find out your secrets, and when I do, I'll use them against you." "Find out what? That I work honestly? That I pay my bills on time? That I treat people with respect? No one is that perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm just not what you want me to be." Olivia turned to the receptionist. "Sophie, right? How much does he make here?" "Mrs. Bennett." "That's really not. I'll double his salary if you fire him right now." The front desk fell silent. Ethan crossed his arms, watching Olivia. He said calmly, "Do you really think that's going to work?" "I'll triple it." Olivia went on, ignoring him. 3 times his salary. You could hire 2 replacements and still have money left over. Sophie looked nervously between Olivia and Ethan. "Mrs. Bennett, I can't make that decision alone. I have to speak to the owner. Then call her. Then call the owner. He's traveling. I don't care. Call him now." Reluctantly, Sophie picked up the phone, dialed, and waited. "Mr. Zhao, sorry to bother you. We have a situation here." She explained briefly, with a few pauses, clearly listening to instructions. Then hung up. "Well?" Olivia asked, confident. He said. Sophie glanced at Ethan awkwardly. He said, "If you want to fire Ethan, you'll have to buy the whole spa." Olivia blinked. "What do you mean, Mr. Zhao said Ethan is the most requested professional. Half the clients come here just for him. Firing Ethan would be like shutting down the business." Olivia's smile slowly faded. "How much is the spa, Mrs. Bennett? How much?" Sophie swallowed hard. "It's not for sale." Olivia stood still for a moment, processing, then turned to Ethan. "You planned this, didn't you? Made yourself indispensable on purpose. Or maybe I'm just good at what I do." At that moment, a man in a suit entered the lobby, tall, broad-shouldered, looking like a security guy. "Mrs. Bennett? Yes? I'm Miguel. From your corporate security team. I need to speak with you. It's urgent." Olivia gave Ethan one last look. "This isn't over." "It never was," he replied calmly. Olivia followed Miguel out to the parking lot. "What's so urgent?" Miguel pulled a photo from his pocket. It was an old, slightly faded picture showing Ethan, dressed in an expensive suit, standing next to an older man in front of a business building. "Where did you get this?" "One of our contacts in the police." He was digging into some background info and found this in an archived file. Olivia looked closer at the photo. When was this taken? 3 years ago. But, Mrs. Bennett. Miguel hesitated. This man. He's not who you think he is. Olivia snatched the photo from Miguel's hands. Explain this now. The photo came from an archived investigation from 3 years ago, money laundering involving shell companies. Ethan appeared as a witness but then disappeared from the records. A witness to what? I couldn't get the details. The case is classified. But, Mrs. Bennett. Miguel lowered his voice. The man next to him in the photo is Wei Zhao. Olivia frowned. That name's supposed to mean something? Zhao owns half the Chinese restaurants in town and also, Miguel paused, also owns the spa where Ethan works. Olivia's blood ran cold. You're saying that Ethan isn't there by accident? Zhao protects him? That's why we couldn't find any info. That's why the spa isn't for sale. That's why Ethan acts like he's untouchable. Olivia looked at the photo again. Ethan was smiling, relaxed, like he'd known Zhao for years. I want to talk to Zhao in person. Mrs. Bennett, that could be dangerous. I don't care. Set up a meeting. The next morning, Olivia woke up to a call from Emma. Mrs. Bennett. We have news about Ethan Lin. Did you find something? Actually, he found something about us. Olivia sat up in bed. What do you mean? A letter arrived at the office, addressed to you, from the law firm Costa and Associates. Never heard of them. It's a small firm, but they specialize in labor law. The letter's about defamation and harassment. Olivia jumped up. What do you mean? Ethan is claiming you tried to coerce his employer, offered a bribe to have him fired, and are damaging his professional reputation. He has witnesses. What witnesses? Everyone who was in the lobby yesterday, including 2 clients who recorded it on their phones. Olivia gripped the phone tightly. This is ridiculous. I can hire the best lawyers in the country. You can, yes, but, Mrs. Bennett, the issue isn't the lawyers. It's public opinion. If this goes to court, it'll end up in the news. And after that viral video yesterday, Olivia hung up the phone and punched her pillow. How did a simple massage therapist manage to turn the tables like this? 2 hours later, she was in her office when Emma walked in, looking worried. Mrs. Bennett. Zhao returned our call, and he agreed to meet this afternoon at his restaurant. But there's one condition. What is it? Ethan has to be there. Olivia smiled for the first time in days. Perfect. I want to look him in the eye when he finds out I know the connection. That afternoon, Olivia arrived at the Golden Lotus, Zhao's most elegant restaurant in the upscale part of town. The place was empty except for a few waiters and an older man sitting at a table in the back. Wei Zhao was shorter than he looked in photos, but he had presence. Graying hair, thin glasses, hands carefully placed on the table. Mrs. Bennett, he greeted her in accented English. Mr. Zhao, Olivia replied in Portuguese. Thank you for seeing me. Please, have a seat. Ethan will be here soon. As if on cue, Ethan appeared through the side door. He wore a plain dress shirt and jeans, yet somehow seemed different, more confident. He sat next to Zhao without greeting Olivia. So, Zhao said with a smile, looks like you two have things to clear up. Olivia got straight to the point. I know about your connection. I saw the photo. I know Ethan isn't just an employee of yours. Zhao raised his eyebrows. What photo? Olivia pulled the image from her pocket and placed it on the table. Zhao looked at it and let out a genuine laugh. Oh, that one. He looked at Ethan. Do you remember this picture? Ethan nodded. Of course. That was the day you saved me. Olivia blinked. Saved you? Zhao leaned back in his chair. Mrs. Bennett, may I ask what you think happened 3 years ago? Some sort of shady deal, money laundering, corruption. Zhao and Ethan exchanged glances. Then Zhao started laughing again. Mrs. Bennett, that photo was taken the day I offered Ethan a job. He was homeless, had been sleeping on the streets for 2 weeks. Olivia felt the ground shift under her feet. What do you mean? Ethan showed up at my restaurant one night, asking just for a glass of water. He was thin, dirty, clearly in bad shape, but there was something about him, manners, dignity. I offered him a meal. He insisted on washing dishes in return. Olivia looked at Ethan, puzzled. And the police investigation? Oh, that. Zhao waved a hand. Ethan witnessed a robbery on the street and gave the police useful information. Since he didn't have ID at the time, they had to photograph him for the witness record. No ID? Ethan spoke for the first time. I had lost everything. My documents, money, identity. Zhao helped me rebuild my life. Olivia was stunned. But you act like you have power. Education. I do have an education, Ethan said calmly. I just don't have money. Where does your education come from then? Ethan hesitated. Zhao placed a hand on his shoulder. Go ahead, son. She already knows part of the story anyway. Ethan sighed. I was born into a wealthy family, Olivia, very wealthy. But when I was 23, something happened. Something that made me walk away from everything and disappear. What was it? That is personal. Olivia leaned in across the table. So, you're from a rich family? I was. Now I'm just Ethan, the massage therapist Zhao rescued from the streets. Zhao poured tea for the three of them. Mrs. Bennett, may I ask you something? Of course. Why are you so interested in Ethan? Olivia opened her mouth, but no words came out. For the first time, she didn't know what to say. He challenged me. No one ever said no to you. Zhao nodded, understanding. And that bothers you because... Olivia paused. The answer was right there, but hard to say out loud. Because maybe I'm not used to people who don't want something from me. Silence at the table. Mrs. Bennett, Zhao said kindly, may I give you some advice? I'm listening. Ethan isn't a challenge to be conquered. He's a person to be understood. And understanding people takes patience, respect, and humility. Olivia looked at Ethan. He wasn't looking at her with anger or judgment, just curiosity. You really don't want anything from me? She asked plainly. Not in the way you've been offering it. What would be the right way? Ethan thought for a moment. Honesty. I've been honest. Have you? Ethan leaned in slightly. Or have you just been trying to buy something that's not for sale? Olivia went quiet. Zhao stood up. I'll leave you two to talk. I need to check on the kitchen. When they were finally alone, Olivia asked, So, what happened 3 years ago, Ethan? What made you walk away from a wealthy life? Does it matter? It does to me. Why? Olivia hesitated, her voice faltered. Because maybe I was wrong about you, and maybe I'd like to really get to know who you are. Ethan studied her for a long moment. Olivia, you spent 2 days trying to embarrass me, get me fired, and dig into my past. Why should I trust you now? Because I'm asking, not offering, not demanding, just asking. For the first time, Ethan smiled, not a sarcastic or guarded smile, an honest one. That's a start. So, you'll tell me? Maybe, when you show me that you truly want to know who I am, not who I used to be. Olivia stood up. How do I show you that? Drop the defamation lawsuit. Your lawyers are probably already preparing against me. Olivia blinked. How did you? Because I know people like you, Olivia. They all react the same way when they don't get what they want. Olivia looked at him for a long moment. Then she picked up her phone and made a call. Emma, cancel any legal action against Ethan Lin now, and drop the investigation too. She hung up and looked at Ethan. Done. Thank you. Now will you tell me? Ethan smiled again. Now you've earned the right to ask again next time. Olivia let out a sigh, but she was smiling too. You're impossible. I'm careful. Zhao returned to the table with a tray of desserts. Did you two work things out? We were making progress, Olivia said. Good. So, may I invite you to dinner here on Sunday? Ethan always has dinner with us on Sundays. Olivia looked at Ethan. Can I come? You can, but you'll have to eat with chopsticks. I know how to use chopsticks. We'll see. Ethan laughed, and for the first time in 3 days, Olivia felt like she might be starting to understand who Ethan Lin really was, or at least who he had chosen to become. Olivia spent the rest of the week trying to focus on work, but the image of Ethan smiling genuinely stayed in her mind. Sunday came faster than she expected. She put on a casual outfit, jeans and a silk blouse, something she hadn't worn in years. No high heels, no power suits. She just wanted to feel normal. The Golden Lotus was closed to the public when she arrived. Zhao welcomed her at the door with a warm smile. "Miss Bennett, right on time." "Olivia, please, and thank you for the invitation. Ethan is in the kitchen, helping with the prep. I hope you don't mind having real homemade Chinese food, not the kind made for tourists. This will be something new for me." Zhao led her to a round table at the back of the restaurant, decorated with simple elegance. Candles, small flowers, a cozy atmosphere. "Zhao, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Why did you help Ethan? I mean, beyond just being kind. Was there something special about him?" Zhao poured tea into 2 small cups. "Have you ever seen someone who's hungry turn down food because they couldn't pay for it?" Olivia shook her head. "Ethan did that. He was clearly undernourished, but he insisted on working before accepting any help. That really impressed me. And after that, I found out he spoke fluent Mandarin, knew traditional Chinese medicine, could talk about Eastern art and philosophy. It was like he was born in China, not here." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Did he study all that?" "Maybe. I never asked. But from the first day, I knew he wasn't just some guy going through hard times." Just then, Ethan appeared, carrying a tray with several small dishes. He was wearing a simple white shirt and dark pants, but there was something different about him. He looked more relaxed, more himself. "Hope you're hungry," he said, placing the dishes on the table. "Zhao always makes too much." Olivia looked at the food, delicate dumplings, steamed fish, stir-fried vegetables with unfamiliar spices, a fragrant soup. "It looks amazing." "Did you both cook this?" "Zhao taught me." "I learned," Ethan replied, sitting down. "It's our tradition. Sundays are for cooking together, like a family." "Exactly," Zhao confirmed. "Ethan is like a son to me." During dinner, Olivia discovered a new side of Ethan. He told funny stories about his early days in the kitchen, did impressions of Zhao when he was upset, laughed easily. He was light. "Ethan," Olivia said, trying out the chopsticks, "how did you learn Mandarin?" "I studied when I was younger." "Where?" "At a private school." Olivia noticed the hesitation but didn't press. "Would you teach me a few words?" Ethan smiled. "Thank you is Xiexi. Please is Ching. Sorry is Duibuki." Olivia repeated, trying to mimic the tone. "Am I saying it right?" "Almost." "The tone is a little." Ethan leaned in toward her. "May I?" She nodded. He gently held her chin, adjusting the position. "Now try Duibuki." "Duibuki," Olivia repeated, this time more accurately. "Perfect." For a moment, they looked at each other. Zhao quietly got up. "I'll get dessert." When they were alone, Olivia asked, "Why do you speak Mandarin so well, Ethan? And don't give me that 'I studied in school' line. Your accent is perfect." "Native?" Ethan sighed. "My mother was Chinese." "Was? She died when I was 15. "I'm sorry." "She taught you the language, the culture, the cooking. She said it was important to stay connected to our roots." Olivia noticed a sadness in his eyes. "And your father? He died too, later on. Is that when you lost everything?" Ethan looked at her for a long moment. "That's part of the story. Yes." Zhao came back with dessert. Fresh fruit and small traditional sweets. "Sorry for the wait. I had to take an important call." "Everything okay?" Ethan asked. "Actually," Zhao hesitated. "It was about tomorrow's event." Olivia looked at them. "What event?" "I have a business dinner," Zhao explained. "International investors. I'm trying to expand into other countries." "What kind of investors?" "Mostly Chinese." Ethan sat up straighter. "Zhao, I already told you I'm not. I know. But," Ethan, Zhao looked at Olivia. You speak Mandarin way better than my official interpreter, and you know our culture. It's just for one evening. Interpreter? Olivia turned to Ethan. You work as an interpreter? Sometimes. I help Zhao with simple translations, nothing official. Simple? Zhao laughed. Mrs. Bennett, you should see Ethan in a business meeting. He doesn't just translate. He understands cultural nuances, reads between the lines, knows when someone's not being honest. Olivia leaned forward, interested. Really? Zhao's exaggerating. I'm not. Remember Mr. Wu last month? You realized he was lying about the numbers before I even suspected. What numbers? Olivia asked. Ethan looked uncomfortable. He was inflating the ingredient costs to justify a higher contract price. How did you figure that out? He changed his tone when mentioning specific amounts. That's common when someone's not being totally honest. Olivia looked at Ethan with growing admiration. Where did you learn that? Experience. What kind of experience? Before Ethan could answer, Olivia's phone rang. It was Emma. Sorry, she said, answering. Hello, Mrs. Bennett. Sorry to bother you on a Sunday, but we have an emergency. What kind of emergency? Tomorrow's meeting with the Korean investors. The official interpreter just canceled flu. Olivia felt her stomach tighten. The meeting was crucial for a $15 million expansion. We don't have a backup. We tried 3 agencies already. It's a holiday weekend in Korea. All the good interpreters are booked. Olivia looked at Ethan, who was talking quietly with Zhao. Emma, give me 10 minutes. I'll take care of it. She hung up and turned to the table. Zhao, about that business dinner tomorrow. Yes? Is it, by any chance, at the Hyatt Regency? Zhao and Ethan exchanged surprised looks. How did you know? Because I also have a meeting there with Korean investors, and I just lost my interpreter. Ethan straightened up. What kind of meeting? Bennett Group, expansion into the Asian market, $15 million in initial investment. Zhao whistled softly. That's a big meeting. Very big. And if I can't communicate properly. Olivia looked at Ethan. Ethan, do you speak Korean? I do, fairly well. Zhao laughed. Fairly? Ethan, you watched a Korean movie with me last month, and were translating jokes the subtitles missed. Olivia felt a spark of hope. Ethan, would you consider helping me? What do you mean? Be my interpreter. Just for one night. I'll pay well, of course. Ethan shook his head. Olivia, it's not about money. Then what is it about? You don't understand. I don't do that kind of work anymore. What kind? Corporate business? High-level meetings? That world? Olivia leaned across the table. Why? Ethan was silent for a long moment, then looked at Zhao, who gave a supportive nod. Because the last time I was in a meeting like that, it was the day I lost everything. Olivia felt a chill. What happened? Ethan hesitated. If I agree to help you tomorrow, you're going to see a side of me you might not expect, and it might change the way you see me, for better or worse. I don't know. Depends on what you're looking for in me. Olivia thought for a moment. I'm looking for the truth, Ethan. About you, about us, about whatever this is between us. Zhao gave a quiet smile. What if I find out you're much more than I thought? And what if you find out I'm much less? Olivia reached her hand across the table. There's only one way to find out. Ethan looked at her outstretched hand, then at Zhao, who gave a slight nod. Finally, he took her hand. All right, I'll help you. Thank you. But, Olivia, he gave her hand a gentle squeeze. The day after tomorrow, you're going to have questions. A lot of them, and I'll have to decide if I trust you enough to answer them. And I'll have to decide if I'm ready for the answers. Zhao raised his teacup. A toast, then, to mutual understanding. Olivia and Ethan raised their cups. To mutual understanding, they echoed. But as they toasted, Olivia couldn't stop thinking about Ethan's last words. The last time I was in a meeting like this was the day I lost everything. What exactly had happened 3 years ago, and why did she have the feeling she was about to find out far more than she expected? Olivia arrived at the Hyatt Regency at 7 the morning, 2 hours before the meeting. She wanted to go over all the documents and get mentally prepared, but mostly she wanted to talk to Ethan before the investors arrived. He was at the front desk, wearing a dark gray suit that surprised her. It wasn't expensive, but it fit him perfectly. And there was something different about the way he carried himself, more upright, more confident. "You look different," Olivia said as she approached. "Clothes make a difference. It's not just the clothes, Ethan. It's you. You seem like you belong here." Ethan looked away. "Shall we go over the meeting strategy?" They went up to the reserved room. Olivia spread documents across the table but noticed Ethan wasn't paying attention to the papers. He was staring out the window, tense. "Ethan, are you all right?" "I'm fine. It's been 3 years since I've set foot in a place like this." "What's special about this place?" "It's not this place in particular. It's places like this, luxury hotels, corporate meetings, people in expensive suits talking about millions." Olivia sat on the edge of the table, studying him. "Was that part of your old life?" "It was my old life. Do you want to talk about it?" Ethan sighed and stepped away from the window. "Olivia, if I tell you, it'll change everything between us. You won't see me as Ethan, the massage therapist, anymore. You'll see me as someone else. And is that a bad thing? Depends on what you're looking for in me." Olivia stood and walked over to him. "I'm looking for the truth, whatever it is." Ethan looked into her eyes for a long moment. "My full name is Ethan Lin Zhao." "Zhao? Like Zhao?" "Zhao is my uncle. My mother's brother." Olivia blinked. "Your uncle?" "He never mentioned. Because I asked him not to. When I showed up at the restaurant 3 years ago, I didn't want anyone to know who I was, not even that we were family." "Why?" Ethan sat in one of the meeting room chairs. "Because I was running away, Olivia, from my family, my name, my life." "What life?" "Zhao Corporation. Ever heard of it?" Olivia felt the blood drain from her face. Zhao Corporation was one of the largest Asian conglomerates in the world. Construction, technology, imports, estimated net worth in the billions. You're from the Zhao family?" My grandfather founded the company. My father expanded it into Latin America. He hesitated. "I was the heir." Olivia sank into a chair. "Heir to billions of dollars?" "That's right." "And you gave it all up to be a massage therapist?" "I gave it up because it didn't fit who I am." The silence in the room was deafening. "What do you mean?" Ethan stood and walked back to the window. 3 years ago, I was being prepared to take over as president of Zhao Corporation. I was 25, had an MBA from Harvard, and experience in 3 countries. I was the perfect son, the ideal heir. What happened? I found out the company was involved in questionable activities, overpriced contracts, bribes to politicians, labor exploitation, things I didn't know about but I should have. Olivia leaned forward in her chair. "And you confronted your family?" "I tried. I said I wanted to change the company, make it more ethical. My father—" Ethan paused and took a deep breath. "My father said I was naive, that these were normal business practices. And then I made a mistake. A terrible one." Ethan turned to Olivia, and she saw real pain in his eyes. "I had a younger brother, Nathan, 2 years younger but much more ambitious. While I was questioning the family's methods, he was embracing them. Where is he now? Dead." Olivia put a hand to her mouth. "Ethan." Nathan was handling a construction contract in Bangkok, a $50 million project. He knew it was overpriced, knew he was deceiving the Thai government, but he didn't care. Ethan sat back down, but this time he looked smaller, more fragile. "I tried to stop him," he said. "I told him I would expose the scheme if he didn't cancel the contract. We fought. He called me a coward, said I didn't deserve to be the family heir." "What did you do?" "I went to Bangkok in person. I wanted to talk to him, convince him to do the right thing. But when I got there—" Ethan paused, swallowing hard. "When I got there, Nathan was in the hospital. He'd been in a car accident on his way to a meeting. The doctor said it was on purpose. On purpose? Suicide, Olivia. My brother took his own life because he couldn't handle the pressure from the family and from me questioning everything he did. Olivia felt tears come to her eyes. Ethan, that wasn't your fault. Yes, it was. If I hadn't threatened to expose the business, if we hadn't argued, if I hadn't… Ethan stopped, breathing heavily. The last thing I said to my brother was that he was a disgrace to the family. You didn't know he was in so much pain. I should have known. He was my younger brother. It was my job to protect him, not judge him. Olivia stood and walked over to him. And then I couldn't live in that world anymore. I couldn't look at my father without seeing Nathan. I couldn't sign contracts without thinking about the consequences. I couldn't be the heir to a fortune built on lies. So I ran away. I only took some personal documents and disappeared. No money, no credit cards, no contact with anyone. I wanted the Zhao family to think I was dead. And did they? Ethan gave a bitter smile. My father officially disowned me 6 months later, told the press I was mentally unstable and no longer part of the family. And you never tried to go back? Never. Nathan died because of me. The company kept doing what it always did. And me, I didn't know who I was without the family's money. Olivia gently touched his arm. Is that why you became a massage therapist? Zhao suggested it. He said I needed to learn how to use my hands to heal, not to harm. And Eastern therapy taught me that sometimes touching someone gently can do more than $1 million deal. They sat in silence for a few minutes. Then Olivia asked, Do your parents know where you are? No. And they can't know, Olivia. If they find out I'm alive, that I'm here, they'll try to bring me back, and I can't go back to that life. Even if it means never seeing your family again. Zhao is my family now, and maybe… He looked at her. Maybe a few people who see me as Ethan, not as Zhao. Just then, Olivia's phone rang. It was Emma. Miss Bennett, the Korean investors arrived early. They're waiting in the meeting room. Olivia looked at Ethan. Are you ready for this? I don't know. It's been 3 years since I dealt with people like that. You want to back out? I can try to find another interpreter. No. Ethan stood up, adjusting his suit. I promised I'd help you, and maybe it's time I use my past experience for something good. Ethan. Yes? Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for not running away when you found out who I really am. Olivia smiled. The day is still young. They both laughed, and for a moment, the tension eased. Shall we? Olivia asked. Let's go. But, Olivia, if at any point during the meeting you notice I've changed, that I seem like a different person, don't be scared. When I'm negotiating, I become the old version of myself. And that's bad? Depends on whether you'll still love me after seeing that side of me. Olivia stopped in her tracks. Love? Ethan realized what he just said and blushed. I meant, if you'll still respect me. No, Olivia stepped closer to him. You said love. That's what you said. Ethan looked into her eyes. I did. Why did you use that word? Because, he hesitated. Because I think that's what's happening to me. I'm falling in love with you, Olivia, and I'm afraid that once you see me in action, once you remember who I used to be, you'll change your mind about us. Olivia held his face in both hands. Ethan Lin or Ethan Zhao or whatever name you choose, I'm falling in love with you too, and nothing I see today will change that. They kissed right there in the hotel hallway, a long, deep kiss full of unspoken promises. When they finally pulled apart, Ethan smiled. Now I'm ready for any meeting, even if it's with people who might recognize me. Especially if it's with people who might recognize me, because now I know who I really am, no matter what's in my past. And who is that? I'm the man in love with Olivia Bennett. The rest is just details. Olivia walked into the meeting room beside Ethan, still feeling the trace of his kiss on her lips. 3 men in dark suits stood respectfully as she entered. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. I'm Olivia Bennett, CEO of the Bennett Group. The oldest of the 3 stepped forward. Miss Bennett, I'm Kim Young, representing the Hanwha Group. These are my colleagues, Park Min-jun and Lee Dong-wook. Ethan quietly took his place beside Olivia. "This is Ethan, our interpreter for today." Kim greeted Ethan politely, but Olivia noticed a spark of curiosity in his eyes. "Does Mr. Ethan speak Korean fluently?" Ethan replied in perfect Korean. Kim smiled, clearly impressed, and answered in the same language. Olivia didn't understand a word, but she could tell they were enjoying the exchange. "What did he say?" she whispered to Ethan. "He complimented my Korean and asked where I learned it. I told him I studied in Seoul a few years ago." The meeting formally began. Olivia presented the Bennett Group's numbers, expansion plans, and profit projections. But what truly impressed her was Ethan. He didn't just translate, he interpreted. When Olivia said something that might come off too strong for Korean culture, Ethan softened it. When the investors asked technical questions, he explained things Olivia hadn't even thought of. "They're concerned about return on investment in the first year," Ethan translated after a quick exchange among the Koreans. "But they also want to know about the company's social responsibility. That's just as important to them as profit." Olivia looked at Ethan, surprised. She hadn't prepared anything on social responsibility. "Tell them, the Bennett Group is developing a sustainability program," she improvised. Ethan spoke to the investors, but Olivia noticed he said more than she had suggested. "What exactly did you say?" "I said you're committed to building a solid social responsibility program and that you'd welcome their ideas on how to do it in a culturally appropriate way for the Asian market." Brilliant, Olivia thought. He had turned her lack of preparation into a chance for collaboration. The meeting went on for 3 hours. Olivia watched Ethan with growing admiration. He read between the lines, noticed when someone was hesitant, and suggested strategic breaks. It was like watching a conductor lead an orchestra. When the meeting finally ended, Kim Jung stood up with a satisfied smile. "Miss Bennett, we're very impressed with your company and with your interpreter." He said something to Ethan in Korean. Ethan replied briefly. "What did he say now?" "He complimented our teamwork, said, 'It's rare to see such good harmony between a CEO and an interpreter.'" Kim shook her hand firmly. "We'll have an answer in 48 hours, but I can say things look very positive." After the Koreans left, Olivia dropped into a chair. "My goodness, Ethan, you were amazing. You did great too. We completely improvised. If it hadn't been for you translating not just the words but the meaning, that's what interpreters are for." Olivia looked at him, impressed. "No, Ethan. Interpreters translate. You negotiated. You read people. You practically closed the deal for me." Ethan looked away, uncomfortable with the compliment. "I just used some past experience." "What experience?" "From Zhao Corporation, yes. I spent 5 years learning how to negotiate with Asians. My father always said understanding culture is more important than understanding numbers." Olivia got up and walked over to him. "Ethan, do you realize what just happened? We made a good deal. You became who you were before the heir, the negotiator, the businessman, and it was beautiful to watch." Ethan frowned. "Olivia, I don't want to go back to that life. I don't want to get involved in the business world again." "Why not? You're brilliant at it." "Because business tore my family apart." Olivia paused. "But, Ethan, you just helped me land a $15 million deal. You understood 3 men I couldn't even talk to. That's part of who you are. A part I'd rather keep buried." Olivia moved closer. "What if you didn't have to bury it? What if you could use those skills for something good? What do you mean?" "Work with me, Ethan." He looked at her, surprised. "What? Be my consultant for Asian expansion? You know the cultures, speak the languages, understand the subtleties. I need someone like that." "Olivia, think about it. You could use all your experience and knowledge to build bridges, not tear things down, to create jobs, not exploit people." Ethan shook his head. "I can't. If I go back into the corporate world, if my name starts showing up again, you don't have to use the name Zhao. You can just be Ethan Lin. My family has contacts all over Asia. Someone will recognize me. So what? You're an adult. You have the right to choose your own life." Ethan walked over to the window. "You don't understand, Olivia. If my father finds out where I am, he'll try to bring me back. And if I resist, what could he do? You're independent now. He could hurt the people close to me, like he did with Nathan. Olivia felt a chill. What do you mean? Nathan didn't take his life just because of family pressure, Olivia. What else happened, Ethan? It's better if you don't know, Olivia. My father is a powerful man, and powerful men protect their secrets. If he finds out I'm alive, working in the corporate world again, he might come after me too. Exactly. Olivia stayed quiet for a moment, processing it all. Ethan, look at me. He turned around. Are you afraid of your family, or afraid of becoming the man you used to be? Both. But today, in that room, you were the man you used to be, and it was beautiful. You used your knowledge to help, not to take advantage. You built bridges, not burned them. What if I like it? What if I start to miss that world? And if you do, would that be so terrible? Ethan looked into her eyes. It would be if it meant losing you. Olivia stepped closer. Why would you lose me? Because if I go back to that world, I won't be the simple massage therapist you met. I'll be the billionaire heir who walked away from it all. And maybe you'd rather have the heir. Olivia held his face gently. Ethan Lin or Ethan Zhao, I fell in love with the man who had the courage to turn down my money, the man who chose to use his hands to heal, the man who gave up a fortune for his values. What if I change? Everyone changes, Ethan. The real question is, do you want to change alone or with me? They looked at each other for a long moment. Olivia, think about it, okay? You don't have to decide now, but think about the chance to use all of who you are, every part of you, for something good. At that moment, Olivia's phone rang. It was Emma. Mrs. Bennett, Mr. Kim just called. They want to move forward, $15 million, just like we discussed. They'd like to sign the contracts tomorrow. Olivia hung up. Glowing. Did you hear that? We did it. Ethan smiled, but there was something sad in his expression. Congratulations. You deserve it. We deserve it. I never could have done it without you, Olivia. Let's celebrate dinner, champagne, talk about the future. About that. Ethan hesitated. I think I need some time to think about work, about everything, about who I am, who I want to be, not what it means to be with you. Olivia felt a tightness in her chest. You're leaving me? No, I'm just stepping back a little to make sure whatever choice I make it for the right reason. How long? I don't know. A few days, a week. Olivia nodded, trying not to show how much it hurt. All right. But Ethan. Yes? Just remember this. Today, you weren't the runaway heir. Today, you were the man who saved my business, and who saved me too. Ethan took her hand and kissed it gently. Olivia Bennett, you're amazing, and I hope I'm brave enough to deserve you. He walked out of the room, leaving Olivia alone with $15 million in contracts and a broken heart. Outside, Ethan stopped in the hallway, leaned against the wall, and took a deep breath. For the first time in 3 years, he had felt like the real Ethan Zhao, and that scared him more than anything. But it also made him feel alive again. The question was, did he have the courage to live? Olivia went 5 days without hearing from Ethan, 5 days that felt like 5 years. She tried to focus on work, on the contracts with the Koreans, on endless meetings, but her mind kept drifting back to him. On Friday afternoon, she was signing documents when Emma walked into the office with a look that meant bad news. Mrs. Bennett, someone's here to see you. If it's about a meeting, reschedule for Monday. It's personal. He says it's urgent. Olivia sighed. Who is it? Carlos Rivera. Olivia's blood ran cold. Carlos Rivera, her ex-fiancé, the man she left 2 years ago, when she found out he was more interested in her money than in her. Send him up. A few minutes later, Carlos walked into the office with the smile she once found charming and now saw as completely fake. Olivia, darling, you look as beautiful as ever. What do you want, Carlos? Straight to the point. I always admired that about you. I don't have time for games. Carlos sat down in the chair across from her desk, crossing his legs like he owned the place. I heard you've been spending time with some interesting company. Olivia narrowed her eyes. What are you talking about? Ethan Lynn, the massage therapist. How do you… Sweetheart, you've gone viral on the internet. CEO, embarrassed by poor massage therapist. Kind of hard to miss. Olivia clenched her fists. If you're here to humiliate me, I'm here to protect you. Protect me from what? Carlos pulled out his phone and showed Olivia a photo. It was Ethan, but in an old picture, wearing an expensive suit at a fancy party. Do you recognize him? Olivia looked closer. It was definitely Ethan, but younger, smiling openly, standing with people she didn't recognize. Where did you get this? I have connections, sweetheart, and they told me some very interesting things about your massage therapist boyfriend. What things? Carlos put away the phone and leaned forward in his chair. Ethan Lin Zhao, son of Zhao Weiming, owner of Zhao Corporation, heir to a 4 billion fortune. Olivia pretended to be surprised. That's ridiculous. Is it? Then why is he working as a massage therapist? Why is he living in a tiny studio apartment? Why is he hiding his last name? Even if it's true, what's the problem? Carlos laughed. Olivia, you're too smart to be naive. A billionaire heir doesn't give it all up to become a massage therapist for the fun of it. Then why? Because he killed someone. Olivia felt the floor drop beneath her feet. What? His brother, Nathan Zhao, found dead in a hotel in Bangkok 3 years ago, officially ruled a suicide, but there are rumors it was murder. You're lying. Am I? Carlos pulled a folder from his briefcase. These are news articles from that time. All in Chinese, of course. But I can have them translated. He spread newspapers and printed documents across the table. Zhao Corporation heir found dead in Bangkok. Zhao family mourns, loss of youngest son. Zhao Weiming Denise, rumors of family disputes. Olivia looked at the documents, but the words wouldn't register. And the most interesting part, Carlos went on, 3 days after his brother died, Ethan disappeared, vanished, no trace. The family claimed he had a mental breakdown, but innocent people don't disappear like that, Olivia. People disappear when they have something to hide. Olivia got up and walked over to the window. What do you want, Carlos? I want to protect you from a con artist. A con artist? Think about it, Olivia. A billionaire heir shows up in your life, pretending to be poor. He charms you with his simple man act, makes you feel special because he doesn't want your money, when in reality, he has access to way more money than you do. Olivia turned to face him. And what's the con? Getting you to fall in love, marry him, and then… Well, accidents happen, especially to people who know too much about suspicious deaths. You're being absurd. Am I? Has Ethan ever told you about his brother? Olivia hesitated. Ethan had told her, but not with the kind of detail Carlos was hinting at. Has he ever explained why he really disappeared? Why a man with the best education in the world now works with his hands? Carlos, I want you to leave. Olivia, I love you. I've always loved you. I know things ended badly between us, but you cheated on me. It was a mistake, a moment of weakness, but it didn't change how I feel about you. Carlos stood and walked toward her. Let me protect you, Olivia. Let me help you find out the truth about Ethan before it's too late. Get out of my office, Carlos. Get out. Carlos raised his hands in surrender. Fine, but think about what I said. And when you find out I was right, you know where to find me. He gathered the documents and left, leaving Olivia alone with her doubts. That night, Olivia couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, going over every conversation she'd ever had with Ethan. Had he lied about anything? Had he left out something important? Nathan didn't just take his life because of family pressure, Olivia. He did it because my father threatened him. That was Ethan's version. But what if there was another side? What if Carlos was right? Saturday morning, Olivia decided to go to the spa. She had to see Ethan, look him in the eye, ask the questions Carlos had planted in her mind. She arrived at Lotus Blossom Etnie. Nule. M. Sophie was at the front desk. Mrs. Bennett, what a surprise. Would you like to schedule a session? I need to talk to Ethan. Oh. Sophie hesitated. Ethan didn't come in today. What do you mean? He called on Monday and said he needed a few days off. He didn't say when he'd be back. Olivia felt a knot in her stomach. Did he say anything? Leave a message? No. He just said. Sophie paused. Said what? He said he might not come back, that maybe it was for the best. Olivia left the spa with a heavy heart. She drove to the small apartment where Ethan lived. She rang the doorbell several times, nothing. She asked the neighbor downstairs. That young man from 304? I haven't seen him in days, but I heard moving noises on Wednesday night. Olivia rushed up to the 3rd floor. The apartment door was unlocked. She stepped inside. The place was empty, completely empty, as if no one had ever lived there. She sat down on the cold floor of the empty apartment, and for the first time in years, cried. When she got home, there was an envelope waiting at her door. Her name was written in handwriting she recognized right away. Inside, there was just one piece of paper with a single sentence. When you trust the silence, I'll come back. Ethan. Olivia crumpled the letter and threw it far, then regretted it, ran after it, smoothed the paper out, and read it again. Trust the silence. What did that mean? She spent the whole Sunday thinking about it. Trust the silence, not believe in rumors, not listen to others. Trust what hasn't been said. On Monday, Carlos called. Olivia, I heard your boyfriend disappeared. How do you know that? I have eyes around town, dear. Do you want to know where he went? Olivia hesitated. Part of her wanted to know. Part of her wanted to follow the letter's advice. Olivia, are you there? I'm here. I can find out where he is. I can show you who he really is. You just have to let me. Olivia looked at the crumpled letter on her table. When you trust the silence, I'll come back. Carlos. Yes, don't call me again. She hung up the phone. That night, Olivia had dinner alone for the first time in weeks. The food tasted like nothing. The house felt bigger and emptier. But she had made a decision. She would trust the silence. She would trust Ethan, even without knowing where he was. Even without understanding why he left. Even with all the doubts Carlos had planted. Because deep down, she knew something Carlos didn't. She knew Ethan had cried when he talked about his brother. She knew his hands shook when he mentioned his family. She knew he looked at her like she was the most precious thing in the world. And people who pretend don't cry like that, don't shake like that, don't look like that. Ethan would come back when he was ready, when he knew who he was and what he wanted, and she would be waiting, with or without silence, but most of all, with trust. On Thursday, 1 week after Ethan disappeared, Olivia was leaving the office when her phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Bennett. This is the reception desk at Bennett Group. There's a man downstairs who says he needs to speak with you urgently. Who is it? He says his name is Zhao. Olivia smiled for the first time in a week. Send him up. Zhao entered Olivia's office with the most serious look she'd ever seen on him. No warm smile. No fatherly kindness. He looked worried. Mr. Zhao. What a surprise. Please have a seat. Mrs. Bennett, thank you for seeing me. Of course. Would you like some coffee, water? No, thank you. I came here for a very specific reason. Olivia sat behind her desk, trying to read his expression. Is it about Ethan? Yes. He told me you talked about his past, about the Zhao family. He did. And he also told me you're his uncle. Zhao nodded. I came because something is happening, Mrs. Bennett, something that could affect both you and Ethan. Olivia felt a chill. What kind of thing? Yesterday I got a call from my brother-in-law, Zhao Wei-Ming, Ethan's father. Yes? He knows Ethan is alive, and he knows where he is. Olivia leaned forward in her chair. How did he find out? Someone went to him. Someone with pictures, information, details about Ethan's life here. Carlos, Olivia whispered. You know this person? He's my ex-fiancé. He came here last week with information about Ethan, said he wanted to protect me. Zhao shook his head, clearly worried. Mrs. Bennett, You don't understand. Zhao Wei-ming isn't just a wealthy businessman. He is, how can I say this? A man who solves problems in final ways. Are you saying he's dangerous? I'm saying when he wants something, he gets it. No matter the cost. Olivia got up and walked to the window. And what does he want? Ethan. Back. To take over the company. His oldest son died, remember? Ethan is the only heir now. But Ethan doesn't want to go back. What Ethan wants has never mattered to Zhao Wei-ming. Olivia turned to Zhao. Where is Ethan now? Hiding. When he found out his father knew where he was, he disappeared again. Why didn't he come to me? Zhao sighed. Because he's trying to protect you, Mrs. Bennet. He knows if his father finds out about you too, he'll use you as leverage. Olivia sat back down, trying to process everything. Zhao, I need more details. What exactly happened to Nathan? Ethan told me his version, but Ethan's version is the truth. Nathan really did take his own life because of family pressure. And another reason. What other reason? Zhao hesitated. Because his father wanted him to marry a woman for convenience, and he wanted him involved in illegal business. Olivia felt her blood run cold. How could he do that to his own son? Nathan had become a problem. He was asking questions, challenging the way things were done, threatening to expose certain company practices. Zhao Wei-ming decided it would be easier to get rid of the difficult son by forcing him to marry and take part in his shady business deals. My God. Nathan was furious, and with all the pressure, he felt trapped. He saw no way out and ended his life. Olivia covered her mouth with her hands. And Ethan knows this? He does. That's why he ran. He knew that if he confronted his father, he'd face the same kind of pressure. Why are you only telling me this now? Because Ethan asked me not to. But I can't let you make decisions without knowing the real danger. Olivia was silent for a long moment. Zhao, do you know where Ethan is now? I don't. He said it was better that way, that if I didn't know, I couldn't be forced to tell. Just then, the phone on Olivia's desk rang. It was Emma. Mrs. Bennet, sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation downstairs. What kind of situation? Men in suits are asking about you. They say they're investors, but they look more like security agents. Olivia looked at Zhao, who had turned pale. How many men? 3, and there's a black car parked outside the building. Olivia hung up and turned to Zhao. They're here. Looks like it. What do we do? You leave through the garage. Now, I'll stay and say I don't know anything. And Ethan? Ethan is on his own, just like always. Olivia grabbed her purse and headed for the door, but stopped. Zhao, one question. Why are you helping me? You barely know me. Because Ethan is in love with you, and I've never seen my nephew in love before. I don't want him to lose that because of his father. Despite the tension, Olivia smiled. Thank you. Mrs. Bennet? Yes? If you find Ethan, tell him he doesn't have to run alone anymore. Olivia went down the emergency stairs to the garage. Her heart was pounding so hard she feared the men upstairs could hear it. She got into her car and drove aimlessly for an hour, checking her rearview mirror constantly. When she was sure she wasn't being followed, she stopped at a small cafe and called Emma. Are the men still there? They left about 20 minutes ago. They talked to Zhao and then left. Is Zhao okay? He's fine. He said not to worry, that he'd handle everything. Olivia hung up and stared at her phone. She had to find Ethan. But how? She spent the next 3 days trying to figure out where he could be. She checked hotels, guest houses, asked mutual acquaintances, nothing. On Wednesday, she was in her office when Emma burst in. Mrs. Bennet, it's an emergency. What is it? The company. Someone hacked our system. All our client files have been leaked, financial data, contracts, confidential information. Olivia felt the world spin. When? This morning. Clients are already calling. Furious. The lawyers say we could face billion-dollar lawsuits. How did this happen? We don't know. The IT team is investigating, but... The phone rang. Olivia answered. Olivia Bennet. Mrs. Bennet, this is Kim Jung from the Korean investors. Mr. Kim, how are you? Worried. We heard about the data breach. Unfortunately, this affects our decision to invest. Mr. Kim, I can explain. I'm sorry, Mrs. Bennett. But we can't be involved with a company that has such serious security issues. He hung up. Olivia collapsed into her chair. Within 2 hours, she received 12 more calls just like that: investors, clients, partners, all canceling contracts, pulling funding, demanding answers. At 5 o'clock p.m., Emma came in again. Mrs. Bennett, we just received an offer to buy the company. Olivia looked at her in disbelief. What do you mean? An investment group is offering to buy Bennett Group 10% above market value. Who? Zhao International Holdings. Olivia felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. Zhao, do you know them? Olivia didn't answer. She grabbed the proposal and scanned it quickly. It was generous, too generous. Emma, leave me alone. Mrs. Bennett, they want an answer, by tomorrow. I said, leave me alone. Emma quickly left. Olivia stared at the offer, understanding exactly what was going on. Zhao Weiming had planned everything: the leak, the cancellations, the financial crisis, all of it to force her to sell the company to him. And she knew why. It wasn't about money. It was about Ethan. Her personal phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Olivia? She recognized the voice instantly. Ethan, where are you? That doesn't matter. Are you okay? I'm fine, but my company. I know. I saw the news. Ethan, it was your father, wasn't it? Silence on the other end. Ethan? Olivia, I need you to accept his offer. What? Sell the company? Take the money and stay away from me? Never. Olivia, you don't understand. He'll destroy everything you've built until you give in. Then let him try. I won't sell to him. Olivia, no. Ethan, did you hear me? I'm not selling, even if it means losing everything. Even if it means losing everything? Except you. Olivia, there's an emergency board meeting at your company tomorrow at 3:00 the afternoon. I'll be there. How do you? Because tomorrow, I stop running. And I start fighting. Ethan, it's dangerous. He said you'd rather lose everything than lose me, right? I did. Then now I'm going to prove I'd rather risk everything than lose you. He hung up. Olivia stared at the phone, fear and hope battling inside her. Tomorrow, she would find out who Ethan Zhao really was and whether he was brave enough to face his own father. Olivia arrived at the Bennett Group's boardroom at 2:45 p.m. Her lawyers were already there, along with 3 board members. Everyone looked tense. Mrs. Bennett, said Dr. Garcia, her lead attorney, I need to be direct. With the data breach and mass cancellations, the company has lost 70% of its market value in 3 days. I understand the offer from Zhao International Holdings is our only viable option right now. Olivia sat at the head of the table. And what if I say I refuse to sell under any circumstance? The lawyers exchanged worried glances. Mrs. Bennett, with all due respect, that would be financial suicide. At exactly 3 o'clock, the door opened. Olivia expected to see Ethan, but instead, a distinguished older man entered. Dressed sharply, with gray hair and a cold expression, behind him were 2 men in dark suits. Mrs. Bennett, the man said with a light Chinese accent. I am Zhao Weiming. Olivia stood, keeping her composure. Mr. Zhao, I wasn't expecting you in person. When it comes to important business, I prefer face-to-face meetings. He sat without being invited. The other men remained standing like bodyguards. I assume you've read our proposal. I have, and the answer is no. Zhao Weiming gave a cold smile. Mrs. Bennett, perhaps you don't understand the seriousness of the situation. Your company is collapsing. In a week, you'll have no clients left. In 2, you won't be able to pay your staff. Then I'll rebuild from the ground up. With what money? Which investors? Who's going to trust a CEO who couldn't protect sensitive data? Olivia leaned across the table. Mr. Zhao, let's stop pretending. You orchestrated all of this, didn't you? The leak, the cancellations, the crisis, those are very serious accusations, Mrs. Bennett. They're facts, and we both know why you're doing this, because I want to expand my business into this country, because you want to force your son to come home. Zhao Weiming's smile vanished. My son is dead. Mrs. Bennett. He died 3 years ago in an accident. That's a lie. At that moment, the door opened again. Olivia's heart raced. Ethan entered the room. But he wasn't the same Ethan she knew. He wore a flawless suit, stood tall, and looked confident. He looked powerful. Hello, father. The room fell silent. Zhao Weiming froze for a moment, then gathered himself. Ethan, you've grown. You've aged. I thought you were dead. I was, for 3 years, but now I'm back. Ethan walked to the table and sat beside Olivia. Gentlemen, he said in fluent English to the lawyers and board members. Then translated, I'm Ethan Zhao, heir to the Zhao Corporation. And I'm here to make a counteroffer. Zhao Weiming narrowed his eyes. What counteroffer? Ethan pulled a folder from his briefcase. I'll buy Bennett Group myself for 20% above the original market value, before the crisis you caused. With what money? You're a poor massage therapist. Ethan smiled. I'm heir to 40% of the Zhao Corporation shares that were never officially transferred because you never officially declared me dead. Zhao Weiming turned pale. Those shares were frozen. By you, illegally. I filed a lawsuit yesterday to unfreeze them. Ethan opened the folder and spread documents across the table. Here are the papers. My identity has officially been restored. The Chinese courts have released my assets, and I have enough money now to buy 10 companies like the Bennett Group. Olivia looked at Ethan, stunned. He was no longer the unsure massage therapist. He was the billionaire heir he had always been. Ethan, Zhao Weiming said, his voice lower, you don't understand what you're doing. I understand perfectly. I'm saving the company of the woman I love and stopping you from ruining one more innocent life. The woman you love? Zhao Weiming looked at Olivia with disdain. She only wants your money, Ethan, like all the others. Actually, Olivia said, standing up, I fell in love with him when I thought he had nothing, when I thought he was just a poor massage therapist. How convenient, Mr. Zhao Sneret. Olivia interrupted. I offered your son $1 million the first time we met. He turned it down. Then I offered 10 million, and he still said no. Do you know why? Zhao Weiming didn't answer. Because he's the most honest man I've ever known. He chose to use his hands to heal people instead of using money to control them. He chose humility over power. He chose love over revenge. Ethan took Olivia's hand. And now, Ethan said, I'm choosing to fight instead of run. Zhao Weiming stood up abruptly. Ethan, if you do this, if you buy that company, you'll be declaring war on me. No, father, I'm declaring independence. You have no idea what I'm capable of. I know exactly. I saw what you did to Nathan. Nathan was weak, just like you. Nathan was sensitive, like me. The difference is, I found someone who gives me the strength to be who I really am. Olivia squeezed Ethan's hand. Mr. Zhao, she said, I accept your son's offer. I'm selling my company to Ethan Zhao for 51%. Ethan added, Olivia will remain the majority partner. Zhao Weiming looked back and forth between the two, furious. You have no idea who you're messing with. Oh, we know, Ethan said, rising to his feet. We're standing up to a man who puts business above even his own children. A man who crushes honest companies just to get what he wants. A man who mistakes fear for respect. Ethan, his father continued, his voice steady but without anger. We're also standing up to a man who once taught me that family is sacred, who took me fishing when I was 5, who cried when my mother died. Zhao Weiming's eyes suddenly filled with unexpected tears. That man is still somewhere inside you. And when he's ready to talk to his son again, no threats, no manipulation, no power. I'll be here. Ethan headed toward the door, then paused. Oh, and father, give back the money you stole from Olivia's clients through that data breach, or I'll take it straight to the federal police. Zhao Weiming stood frozen in the middle of the room, suddenly looking very old and very tired. How did you know about the money? Because I know you, and because Zhao told me about your methods. Zhao Weiming muttered. My brother-in-law was always loyal to you. He's loyal to family, real family, not the kind built on fear. Zhao Weiming turned to Olivia. Are you sure about what you're doing, Miss Bennett? Absolutely. I'm marrying a man worth more than all your money combined. Marrying? Ethan looked at Olivia, surprised. Olivia blushed. Well, assuming you're going to ask me. Ethan dropped the briefcase, got down on one knee right there in the meeting room, and pulled a small box from his pocket. Olivia Bennett, will you marry me, knowing I'll use my fortune to build, not destroy, knowing I'll still want to work as a massage therapist now and then, because it reminds me of the man I chose to be, knowing we'll have to deal with a complicated family? Olivia laughed through her tears. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Ethan slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her right there in front of the lawyers, the advisors, and his own father. When they finally pulled apart, Zhao Weiming had sat back down, staring at the papers on the table. The ring? He said quietly. It was your mother's. I know, Ethan replied. Zhao gave it to me. He said she'd want it to go to the woman who reminded me what truly matters. Zhao Weiming nodded slightly, still looking at the table. She'd be proud of you, Ethan. I know. And maybe someday you will be too. 2 months later, Olivia and Ethan were married on a quiet, secluded beach. Zhao was the best man. There were no crowds, no show, just the sound of waves, a sunset, and 2 people who found each other when they least expected it. Olivia wore a simple dress and was barefoot in the sand. Ethan wore a light suit, and he was barefoot too. During the ceremony, when the pastor asked if they had anything to say to each other, Ethan held Olivia's hands and said, Olivia Bennett, you taught me that the greatest luxury in life isn't money. It's having someone who loves you, just the way you are. I promise to use my hands to touch you with kindness every day of our lives, and I promise to use my money to make the world a little better, just like you taught me. Olivia, crying with happiness, replied, Ethan Zhao, you taught me that true power doesn't come from money. It comes from the courage to say no to what's wrong and yes to what's real. I promise never to try to buy love again, because I already have the only love that truly matters. They kissed as the sun fully set, with Zhao clapping and a few friends tossing rose petals. The next day, Olivia and Ethan announced the creation of the Bennett Zhao Foundation, dedicated to helping homeless youth and promoting ethical practices in business. And every night before going to sleep, Ethan would massage Olivia's feet, not for money, not out of duty, but out of love. Olivia finally understood that some things truly have no price. Zhao Weiming never tried to contact them again, but 6 months after the wedding, a gift arrived, a cherry tree, planted in the garden of their new home. With a card that simply read, For shade and blossoms, a father who is learning, Ethan planted the tree himself, and sometimes, when no one was watching, Olivia would catch him talking to it, as if he were talking to his father. Some kinds of love, after all, deserve a second chance too.